That just shuts my brain off.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And how is it here?
It's very peaceful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If I could only stay here forever. You see what's happening? You're going back, you're like going into the mind, into the thoughts, and then connecting to the future, right?
Mm.
If I only could stay here forever, and in the only staying, trying to stay here forever, it seems like you're kind of away from what is actually here.
Just feel like it's important to like discuss this just because like it's a problem that I see within my own practice with this, and like I think that's the resistance that I have, because I'm worried that I'm gonna
Yeah,
fall
yeah, yeah, yeah.
into
In
absolute.
that, yeah, 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 yeah. There's a reason to hold on to that sense of I. Because if you don't, what will I become? Like, will it become like that? I don't want that, right? Yet, what if it's just an assumption that they are beyond that?
It's my ego that
Right?
sees their ego.
Could yeah, could be, could totally be. Yeah, yeah. What naturally comes for me is just doing this. This is like I've never had anything in my life that like at one time I my mother needed some help in her cleaning company, and I was like, okay, before I would be like, no, 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 I don't do that. That box.
Mhm,
But now all
mhm,
the boxes and all the ideas and beliefs and all of that is gone. So it was like, you need help? Okay, I'm going to help you. So cleaning, and I came home just before the next session, or no, no, just before someone said, I would love to have a session now, and I was like, why not? And I went into it, even though I was like, oh, tired from the physical stuff.
mhm, mhm.
And in that session, like energy, like wow, this is like I was kind of done physically, but it gave yeah, it's just this is just I don't have words for it, but it's
Yeah,
amazing.
it's
Yeah.
almost like it feeds you the energy,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't make sense to ask you questions now based on the end game questions and everything you're here for. But the only thing that makes sense now is to ask like, what is it for you now? Like, what is that for you that gives you that energy that like where it all naturally flows to?
Hmm, hmm. Wow. Lots of things. What was that recently that happened where I was really falling asleep and then I did something? Oh, that was it. I was chatting to my friend. Sorry. Yeah, because I was about to fall asleep. And then my friend rang me and I was like, oh, I can't do this. And then I thought, you know what? Same as you. I was like, I haven't spoke to her in a while. So I answered the phone. And then, like, within like 10 minutes, I was like totally just like awake. And I think it was just an example of how, like, some people feed me,
Yeah.
or you
Yeah.
just kind of, you create like a vortex of energy together. It's not like you're
Yeah.
sucking energy from them. It's like you're bouncing off of each other and creating a vortex. But yeah, in terms of things that feed me, like writing. So
Writing. Yeah, yeah. I know
anything,
that from you, right? Yeah, that's beautiful.
yeah, um, I love, yeah, like my passions, that kind of thing. So maybe, yeah, just writing, qigong really feeds me energy. That's literally like taking energy and putting it aside. And just any kind of like research to do with ancient spiritual philosophies. Like I could just sit up all night and learn.
Yeah.
That
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
kind
That rabbit hole, that down there.
oh yeah,
Dig in.
you know. I remember you had some really late nights, didn't you, in Tiru, where you're like working through stuff and like I'm the same if I'm like riding that kind of wave of like self-discovery and like internal alchemy and like just healing, and then I'm ready to go, you know. I'm not gonna fall asleep. So
Ready to rumble.
exactly. Exactly. But yeah, I think that yeah, it's like when you have that burning passion, isn't it?
Hmm.
I think
Yeah,
that's what, so that's how you know that you're doing what you're supposed to
yeah,
do.
yeah. But you know, even supposed to do is just an idea.
Yeah, it's a
Because
thought.
beyond that idea and beyond these concepts and the words and everything I can say here is just a flow, right? Are you really choosing the passion or is the passion choosing you or whatever, right? It's like it's going there. Yeah.
Mhm,
Almost
mhm.
like beyond choosing, right?
Yeah, like there's a an inner flow that's kind of guiding me in a way.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Definitely.
And yet, everything we can say are just words. But what is a word? What is it? A word.
I would say it's a label.
Yeah.
It's like a
And alphabets.
vibration.
Alphabets that mean something. That could be could be the label, but like it's not the same for everyone. Even the same word. If we talk about like spirituality, for example, right? Like,
Mm, mm,
is there even one person that has the same that gives the same meaning to it as as someone else? Because it's like so broad. But anyway, it's a word, and you have to think of it. So it involves this one, right?
mm.
So it starts with kind of thoughts about it, right? But what is a thought then?
I would say it's like a vibration.
Yeah.
It's like a tiny entity, and at the absolute truth, a complete illusion.
Just a thought. It's made up. You kind of create it, right? Or you
Yeah.
seem to create it, but what is it? It's not tangible or something, right? It's not like like you can feel it, not like you can grasp it. It's like in Dutch we have this word for something like that. It seems to have content, but it's not really. Like, and we call it baked air.
Baked air. Oh, naked air, did
No,
you
no,
say?
bake it,
Baked air.
but naked air I also like. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
naked air. Yeah,
I love it.
but is
So,
there then dressed air?
yeah, yeah,
Dressed air is kind of like the baked air. It's like it seems like it has something, but there's like oh yeah, naked air. Yeah, 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 yeah,
I love
yeah.
it.
So,
I love it.
but anyway, all of this, like, it seems to have something, but does it really? Because it's just in your head, right? It's made up. So if it's all made up, then everything you think about is made up. So if you think about you, then that is made up. So what do you think is you?
Definitely not objects that arise within awareness.
Definitely. What?
All of these things that come and go, the
Yeah,
thoughts,
yeah,
the phenomena that comes and goes that we see, that's definitely not me.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But there's something that doesn't come and go, huh? Yeah, yeah. In between the coming and going. Yeah. So what is in between thoughts and no thoughts?
Pure awareness.
And what is in between awareness and no awareness? None awareness.
Oh, interesting. What is between awareness? That just shuts my brain off.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And how is it here?
It's very peaceful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Say no more. We can say peace of mind, but it's even peace from mind. And that's even saying too much.
Oh, lovely. I should stay here forever. But what do we do?
But I love your English. I've always found it so like soothing,
Yeah.
so beautiful. Um, and what if that's just another thought? But we can stay here forever. If I could only stay here forever. You see what's happening? You're going back, you're like going into the mind, into the thoughts, and then connecting to the future, right? If I
Mhm.
only could stay here forever, and in the only staying, trying to stay here forever, it seems like you're kind of away from what is actually here, in between future and past. So, what is in between the the future and the past?
Present.
So, if you cannot do that mind ping pong, right? Because it's like doing a ping pong. It's going as the ball with the thoughts are the ball, right? It's like
Mm.
past, future. If I can only stay here forever, oh, because then in the past, right? I it didn't work out, so we gotta do something for what's that thing. Um, this which could go on forever, right? It's just it's like a rat in a hamster wheel. It's like not realizing that it could stop, and it's like oh, that's actually quite relieving to not do that all the time. Right? Whoa, that was intense. Right? And it doesn't have to be. Because if you don't do the mind ping pong, if you know that was all an illusion, right? If you're just here and now, in the in between past and future, what is here?
It just is. It's presence, pure presence.
Yeah. You know, I cannot even say it. Because if I would give a word to it, then it could like also for you maybe even seem like that word or like for me that doesn't happen anymore but in the past whatever talking about past it was like oh it's awareness oh, it is the universe. Oh no, it's God, or it is whatever, right? And then it becomes a word. It becomes this to chase in the future. If I get it, if I want that, right? And will it ever be there in the future? Because it's just a thought going to there, and it's like away from what is here now. And this now, I cannot give a word to it because it's not that word. I cannot even give any word to it because it's not just that word. Because that's just a concept, just a belief, just an idea, just a thought. Yet, in between thoughts and no thoughts, right? What is in between mind and no mind?
That question I don't think has it, because if you give it an answer, then you start generating the mind, but the mind can't answer that.
Yeah. And yet, what is here? Like, it's, it feels kind of free, right?
Oh yeah, it's very peaceful.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with this state of awareness, with this pure presence. It's almost um like all other types of meditation seem void,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
meditation that you direct your awareness, that you when you use meditation to direct awareness towards other things,
Mm-hmm.
you're filling that blank space with things, which is fine because it helps to fine tune and focus the mind, but you're not inquiring into the nature of self, and you're still kind of filling empty space with things. But by directing attention inwards and short circuiting the mind and switching it all off, then you just have pure stillness and pure presence. And that is the closest thing that we have to our true nature. My constant issue is that I yo-yo between these two worlds.
The two worlds, the relative and the absolute, as in the absolute
Um,
truth and the relative world, or what are the two worlds?
I yo-yo between being identified with the content that arises within the awareness, and the and sitting in this place of pure presence that
Mm-hmm.
you've just taken me into, and that I'm obsessed with. Because once you discover it, it's incredible. It's like, wow, like I it's always there.
Yeah. It was
And
all. It seems to be always have been there, but we were just up here. And it can be useful if you got to calculate something, right? If you're in a supermarket, it can be very useful. It's a wonderful friend to help you out with things, right? But if you're only here, it was always here. It seems like, and even that's a word. Everything we can say here is just trying to put it in words. Yet, can we even? And
yeah.
yet, you describe this challenge of the yo-yoing between the two worlds, between the presence and the being identified with what's happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yet you can only identify if you can only identify from you. Yet in this, between what is in between me and know me?
Yeah, that question just takes me into that state. I
Yeah.
can't.
And here, right? Is there anything missing in this?
No, it's perfect.
Yeah.
how do I stop from wanting to live perpetually from that state though? How because I feel like the wanting creates pain because I can't always be in that state because
That's
there's a
that's
part of me that's
that's
addicted
just
to
that's
thinking
just a
stuff.
belief, my dear. I just gotta, sorry for interrupting you, but that's
No,
just
no,
a
no, no,
belief.
please.
But that's just a belief that you can't always stay there or that you're always there. Even that I cannot and I can, they're just beliefs. What are
Hmm.
you without that belief? Without that made up thought, right? What is here without that? These things that come up. Oh, if I could only live from this, right? You said something like that, like, oh, that's, you know, how can I stay here? Something like that. I don't know the exact words. And the things that you're saying here, these are just thoughts. That seems to kind of get you away, even though you cannot really go away because it's always here, right? It seems like it, at least. Because I don't know too, right? I'm saying things, but I'm here in the full I know shit, humbleness kind of sense.
Hmm.
Whatever
Hmm.
words we give to it. Um, there is here like everything that can come up here is just a thought. And now I can be like, oh, I want to think about something, right? I want to think about, okay, what am I going to eat tonight? Like, we go back to the eating. I love to think about what I'm going to eat, right? Because I love eating. And I love to tend my body well. Like, I don't want to do this every day that I had half food, but now I'm good with that. So that's, I make choices and I go from there. And those are kind of thoughts on demand also, right? And like I choose to think about this, but there are also quite irrelevant things coming up. For example, which could be an irrelevant one, how do I stay in this? What if the thought, how can I stay in this, is what kind of gets you away from this? If you see that all of that that comes up, that comes and goes, also in that sense, right? We talked about the coming and going. The thoughts are part of that. All that comes and goes in here, you can see it, if you want, as irrelevant. And when you see the reality, or maybe better said, non reality that it holds for you, and you look through it, then it's like, oh, right? Things come up, beliefs that you've had kind of in the past, seemingly, and things come and concepts, and you're like, it all seems very important. But it doesn't anymore. I can just play with it. It's going back to like being a child.
Thoughtlessness. And so,
Oh, but there
so
can be still these thoughts coming up, right? Because
mm,
a child before language doesn't seem to have it, right? It's just pure in the now, like there's experience, and it can be tears, and at one moment there can be candy passing around. It's like, oh, candy, tears are gone. Like, right? It's just instant in the moment. There are just things happening, and just fully experiencing it.
mm,
But
mm.
a child like that's older could also think about stuff. Um, but if you see through the illusion of it, there is something never touched by all of this, right? That's how it seems like, at least. It cannot even it cannot even be touched by the thoughts that come up with you. Just a train passing, full of thoughts. Whatever.
Wow. The I feel that with many things that pop into my awareness, such as, you know, mundane kind of anxious thoughts, or even, like thoughts that I perceive to be kind of useless. So I'd rather just be in presence and pure awareness and peace rather than just recycling thoughts round and round. Those kind of thoughts are very easy to drop. And
Yeah.
when I remember to be, to come back into this pure awareness, then I'll do it. And some thoughts are very easy to detach from and to see from this observer perspective, and they just kind of fizzle out. But other thoughts are sticky and they hold a lot of weight. Yes, the
I
only
love it. Sticky.
adjective. Sticky.
So sticky.
It's the only adjective I have for it, because they're really sticky and they stick your
Yeah,
attention
yeah, yeah.
onto it. So, and these are generally like very
Yeah.
deeply ingrained narratives
Hmm.
that have got lots of history behind them. So I might be able to like just see, oh, okay, this is a narrative. It's not important. It's not gonna last forever. It's totally impermanent, and it doesn't. I might even be able to kind of see that there's no truth in it, but my body um finds it that it's kind of almost like a possession. What do I do to, how do I detach and find some sort of awareness within these troublesome, sticky
Sticky.
thought streams?
Yeah. Love.
I'm never gonna say that word sticky again
Yeah.
without going
Forever, it will be remembered as a sticky.
sticky.
You also got to move with your hat with it, like sticky.
Sticky. Yeah, it comes as a whole, as a package.
Like you don't want it to stick on your body. It's like it's a sticky. Oh, we are child like children playing. I love this. So
Talking about very profound concepts.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, but okay, just a little because you're talking about profound content. I know it's a side way, but as we're on it about profound content, and then we'll go back to the sticky thinking.
Yeah.
Um, if if all of it are just made up words coming from made up thoughts, profound things, is there? Are there profound things?
Absolute truth, no. Relative truth, yeah.
Yeah, you can talk about absolute and relative, yes, because something can be important for you, yes. And yet I cannot say it's important and I cannot say it's not important in that sense or that it's like profound or not. Like I don't know,
Mm.
right? Yet there seem to be people that are like, and I'm not trying to downgrade them, yet someone who seems to know, and I'm not talking about practical things in life. If you want to become a painter, you might want to learn some skills, right? Yet talking about teachers in the spiritual sense, gurus, enlightened masters, whatever, right? We met in India, close to the ashrams and that kind of stuff, and there seem to be people that they know, and they are also on the pedestal because they seem to know. But what if nobody knows? Because it's all words. It's all made up.
It's all a fictional story. And we are fictional characters and we take it so seriously.
And we take it so serious. But if we play with it all, then it becomes so different. Then there comes lightness. And if we take
Mm.
it so serious, oh, this is profound and this not, this one has the wisdom and this not, and end with that being like, oh, almost like bowing, like, and you can bow like if you bow to each other from like an equal place, right? Okay, beautiful in a kind of sense. Yet if you bow to someone as if that person is higher, like what is all of that, right? The person seems to know, yet they're all words made up, and they're all. I have a sense that even for sure the genuine ones, they're all pointing to the same. But can they give words to it? To this that cannot like really be defined. But how can you give words to this in between, to this now, between past and future, between thoughts and no thoughts, between me and no me? Um, and it seems for some, and I've been one of them, that that person is there and that one knows. It's just giving your power away. I'm done with that crap that I did, right? Because it doesn't serve. And there's so many people giving their power away to that. And there are also so many, in that sense, teachers or whatever you call them that say, I'm just like you. Also, for example, Jesus was like, we're the same, right? It's I don't know the exact words, but and so many else are saying that. It just doesn't serve that whole thing. And it's based on someone knows and doesn't know. It's based on someone has the profound knowledge. We started with the profound. And I'm here to say, I don't know. And in the I don't know, when you also don't know, we're here. Done with all, like, there are no pedestals needed. And if someone wants to put me on a pedestal, I'm like, okay, first, I'm going off that chair and I will sit next to you or, together, like on the same place because it,
It just adds to the illusion. It just feeds the mind more things to think about.
yeah.
But I feel that they're like within myself for sure. Like spiritual ego has been almost like my biggest hurdle. I find that the
Same
spiritual
here.
path is very treacherous.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's like you can be the most humble, or you could actually have the world's most ugliest ego because the mind comes in the back door and it I mean, well, you've been to Tirunamalai, so you've seen that you can have
Ooh.
the loveliest people, and then you can have people that have become identified with pure awareness.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And so
yeah,
the pure awareness is just now their new identity, but they're not
yeah,
actually living
yeah,
in pure awareness, because if they were truly living
yeah,
as this
yeah,
awareness that witnesses,
yeah,
then they wouldn't have this superiority complex that you can feel. Yeah, like for me it's such
yeah,
a I have to be so observant with it, and I like hold my hands up and say like I can witness these thoughts and I can detach from them, but a lot of the time they are still very much there.
mm,
And I'm
yeah,
just
yeah. But also, I have also these moments that I'm like, what's happening here, right? That I go into the trains of the thoughts. Oh, there is a going into it, right? Whatever, right?
yeah.
Um, and there is a sense that there are people where that doesn't happen anymore. But I have a sense that with most of us it is, even though we may be beyond that, right? And that's the ego. But you can only do that, right? If y- if you place yourself on a pedestal of I know. Can this be known by the mind, by the the um the mind can only get you so far, right?
Mhm.
And also the teachers in that sense can only get you so far. If you're just chasing words, it can go on and on and on. Yet there's something here in between the words, and it was all it was here.
Mm,
I was up here.
the space in between.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
And then,
it's my happy place.
huh? What?
It's almost like it's like grace, and it's so easily accessible, but we constantly fill the sky of pure awareness with objects,
Yeah.
whether it's spiritual ego, whether it's thoughts, whether it's yeah, well, any object within our awareness, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I definitely have this. I feel like the more that I fall in love with pure awareness, though, the more I wish that I could be like that in every moment, you know?
It is
But
just
that's
a thought.
something else I have to observe, I guess.
But even you don't even have to observe it because that's another thing, right? That's another thing to do, right? There's nothing wrong with doing, but having to observe it is
Mm-hmm.
just another thought. And it may be just become clearer now that everything that happens is just everything that, like, every thought that comes up is just another thought. And you can make it as relevant or irrelevant if you want, as you want. It can be that there's now a clear seeing through it. And it's like, no, I'm here. And
Hello,
hello.
goodbye.
Yeah, yeah, whatever, right? You can even laugh about it. Like I've had so many moments, like these things come, like things that from like that happened before, and then they come up again, these ideas or whatever. And I'm like, wow, it doesn't have control anymore. And it tend to be with people like with these questions, and you can also, and that also answers your question about the sticky things.
Yeah, what about the sticky ones?
The stickies.
The ones that pull us under and where we're unable to see that bigger picture.
Hmm. Hmm. I don't know what I wanted, what I was about to say. I don't
Oh,
know.
sorry. I
No, no, no.
totally
No,
just
sorry. It's okay. It's okay. No, 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 no. Like, there's nothing, I don't know here, right? And they're just a flow, and they're just words coming out that you don't even have to take serious. It is in the end, it is everything I say is just blah blah blah. Um, and if I forget something, I forget something. It is I it's not even like, even though I'm here recording with you, right? If I forget something, I forget something. Like, I'm not like in the past I could be harsh on myself for that. Or it could be like, oh, you said something and that's why I forget it. But that's all just a story, right? So no worries about it. Like, there's just coming what is coming. I don't, in a way, I don't care. Um, it's not that I don't care about you, um, but it's just that the importance of all that there was is just, and there is here. How can I help? And if there's one thing that helped me with the stickies, it's just asking this question. one of these questions. And the words don't matter that much because they're just words, just like the thoughts that come up, just like the thoughts that stick. That all doesn't matter. It's just if it's a thought, what is in between thoughts and no thoughts?
Mhm. So just let the stickies be there, essentially.
Like before, we could be. It's not. You don't even have to let it be because that's also something that you have to do. It's like where it starts is with, oh, this is a problem, right? But that's just a belief because there's a belief that the stickies we should do something to avoid them, which is connected to the future. Because in the past you've experienced that other stickies are difficult, right? All of this all happens in the mind. See it as irrelevant thoughts, and you will experience what will be happening from now on, and it could be totally different than you've experienced in the past. The question about the stickies is just it's trying to prevent a possible future from happening. Yet, what if that trying in itself is what keeps you going away from what is here, actually?
Yeah, but this is this is the paradox because like if we don't try, how do we cultivate this?
What if there's nothing to cultivate there?
There definitely is nothing to cultivate, absolutely, because it's our true nature. But
In the relative, you mean?
in the relative, like if I just say, all right, then, brilliant. Okay, I'll forget about non duality, I'll forget about Ramana Maharshi, I'll forget about pure awareness and everything, and I'll just go about my daily life. I'd probably go have a beer.
You'd
I'd
probably
probably,
get a beer.
yeah. I'd
Why
probably
not? What's
like
wrong with
I'd
a
go
beer?
try. Oh no, I do. I've got some Baileys.
Oh.
I've just been having a good time. But but I find that without the devotion, there is, I guess, is devotion and trying the same thing. Um, they're all just words as you say, but I think the paradox is that it takes sort of like a balance for me. Like devote, I have to grow my devotion so that I can realize what I am, because if not, I lose my way, you know? So I have to have this personally, I have to have this kind of balance for sure. And I have to dip my toe in the relative so that it can bring me closer to the absolute. Um,
Dear.
but then I totally see what you mean because it's the trying that is the resistance sometimes. And
Mhm. Mhm.
it's the resistance that projects this kind of this forcing upon it, and it's more like a relaxed, like when we're in that place of pure awareness, it's more like a relaxed alertness. as soon as I as soon as there's a tension of some kind, and as soon as I try too hard to remain there, I lose it.
Yeah.
So it's like this paradox,
Hmm.
and I can't quite wrap my head around it, but it's almost like I have to get this balance. And that's again like a problem of mine because it's like, well, how do I balance? Because I have to practice, I have to sit there and do my meditation and do the self-inquiry. Um, but then
Beer. What if there's nothing to do?
There isn't anything to
Yeah.
do.
And what
There's
if there's
just
nothing to realize? And I know it seems maybe that I'm going in a loop, yet there is this I have to do, I have to realize. There is this putting it out there that
mm,
somewhere in the future there would be whatever. Yet, what is here in between future and past? What if you cannot do that mind ping pong? What if you rest in the middle, in between thoughts and no thoughts? Is there anything wrong with this?
it's perfect.
Yeah, we come back to that. And the thoughts, I have to, but I have to do these things, and how can I keep this? And but I have to meditate, and what all of that. These are just beliefs, my dear, just constructs, and I had them, so I know very well that stuff. When there was a, I can only describe it as poof happening here when I was driving in the car, listening to a beautiful friend named Emerson. It didn't make any sense anymore. All that trying and the rituals and the meditating. That meditating didn't make any sense anymore. It all didn't make any sense anymore.
Why you had the samadhi?
My dear, I didn't have something that you don't, right? I don't
Yeah, I
have a
definitely
samadhi.
haven't had like a deep.
Samadhi is just a word, my dear. Samadhi is just a word. There's nothing here that is not here with you.
Mm.
And it may seem like it may seem so real that there is someone that, whatever, just words. There is something here beyond words. And okay, trying to grasp this can go on and on and on and on and on forever. And I know that there's also love about digging into this stuff. There is passion. I see that with you. And yet, trying to grasp this that kind of cannot be grasped, it seems like, and I don't even know that, right? But trying to figure it out, as I also did, that it is figured out in some distant future can continue for the rest of your life. I've seen seekers for 50 years seeking. What if this that you seek is already this?
Yeah, this is the thing that winds me up about non-duality though, because they'll constantly say, "But you are it. You are not the doer. You are already what you are."
Yeah, and yet these are also concepts. Everything I say in that sense is also, I can only point towards it. And I needed to hear the questions that I ask you, and it may be good to just go into the questions. Um, because I had to hear them. So, the story here, right? I had to hear them a couple of times before it was like, it just couldn't get it anymore. And
Mm.
wow. Um, and if I say this, then it could even become like, oh, that can happen there, but it can happen now, and it's not even a happening. It's like an happening that undoes kind of the happening, and it seems like with the words, the more words I give to this, the more I kind of feed like the trying to grasp it from you. right? Um, what is there without being able to grasp anything? What is in between mind and no mind? Yeah.
Everything's gone. I love this. I love how you take me back into pure awareness.
And I'm not even doing it. I'm just asking a question. And you, there is a going into that. So, is there a you in this?
There is some kind of level of I, but the words kind of inquire into the nature of I, and it's not the mind that answers.
Yeah. And can you locate that I? Can you say, like, oh, yeah, it's here?
Definitely not. I have no idea. I'm not even gonna look for it because I feel like there's gonna be layers and layers.
So, what is here with me seems to be here with you, my dear. But it seems to be away when you think of it. If I would, could be happening the same.
Mm.
Yet there's something here beyond mind, beyond thoughts. You cannot even find I, as in seems there's an I, yet also not, right? It's like there's just this
So how can we create? How can we maintain some kind of level of
here, irrelevant, irrelevant thought. Sorry, I have to be very.
okay,
I
right.
have to
So
be. That's an
what
I
if
have to be. I
police
know. I know. I tracked it.
what
I
if
have.
the police stop me in the road because I'm drink driving or something and they say, Jasmine, or they say, what's your name? And I say, there is no I. There is no Jasmine.
You can still function from this. Maybe there's a kind of fear towards this flow, right? This flow. I know a man who lives from this flow for 7 years. For me, it's been a little less,
Wow.
quite some time less,
Wow.
and they're just things happening. It goes as automatic as taking a cup of coffee or tea, or I think we would go for the tea. Um, in the morning you take it without even thinking of it, or brush your teeth, right? Without even thinking of it, just things happening, just words coming out of my mouth right now. I'm not thinking about it. It's pretty silent here. I don't even know. So it's just blah blah blah. Yet in this flow, things happen, and it's been. If I give words to it, it feels so free,
It's amazing.
and it just happens, and it goes. It's amazing. It's it seems like there's a tendency to be like, oh, I cannot stay in this, right? It feels like there's a tendency, like, if I stay in this, then do you sense that? Do you feel that?
Um, I have a feeling Tyrinamelate.
There
What
we go.
what why witness? So I had a very I had a period in my life where I was very detached from the thoughts, and I thought that it was incredible. And I was able to just kind of glide through my experiences, seeing thoughts arise and subside, um, and have this kind of level of detachment. And that was really beautiful.
Hmm.
However, then I kind of lost that in a way. Um, some of it remained, but I lost a lot of it. Um, However, when I when I went to Tirunamalai, I was very obsessed with kind of um finding this again, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, and
I was also trying to find this.
so we were exactly
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
same.
same. I was also trying to find this. And I could go
Yeah.
on and 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 on.
Yeah. Um, just kind of like chasing that kind of level of awareness again. Um, but I had to kind of take a step back and just accept where I was. I just kind of found like this is the resistance that you feel in me. I saw people that were living in that state, or so they claim to be, but I just kind of felt like their humanity had gone. So, hanging out in the vicinity of people that were practicing this practice, I saw the shadow. And the shadow was that people had fallen so far into it's just a thought, it's just a thought, that they had lost their humanity. So how do we juggle this? How do we remain as the deeper awareness that sees everything, but also remember that we are a human being living in this world?
Mm, yeah. I don't know. As honest as I can be. And I feel touched. And I don't know why, and I don't even have to know why. And what comes up is here now in this that I cannot even name. How could that be apart from humanity? Right? How can be the relative in that sense be apart from the absolute?
Mm,
Right?
yeah.
If there is this it seems like a kind of disconnect. It's a disconnect from the humanity, what you're talking about. And if there's this disconnect, is that in let's just right now for sake of words and language, is that being in the one, right? Or in God, in universe, uh, whatever words we give to it, right? Because these are just words. I cannot say they're true and that they're not true. They're just words. And in that, it seems that if there's disconnect, right? I cannot see otherwise than that there is the construct of me,
Mm,
ego, involved. And there's nothing also wrong in that sense with that created construct of me, right? Yet, if it creates disconnect from all of this, from all, it doesn't seem like it just doesn't feel like it, and I don't know.
Yeah, and as you say, that's kind of almost that's like the best thing that you can really say, isn't it? Because we don't know that that's the mystery. Like I went to a did you go to Ganga Ma's satsang in Tirunamalai? I went to like her
Based on what
satsang.
I heard.
Yeah, well, I went to her satsang a couple of times and she frequently said, I don't know. And I
Okay.
just thought it was the most beautiful thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I love to hear that.
Yeah, I thought it was such a beautiful thing because yeah, as like the ego wants to know. Like we always want to know. Like we want to know the answer to that question, what is in between and who am I? And the mind comes in and tries to answer it, right? And it's like,
Mhm. Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
pipe down, you can never
yeah,
answer
yeah,
these
yeah,
questions.
yeah, yeah.
Some
Because
questions just can't be answered.
yeah, 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 yeah. And if there's someone who's like, I know, right? I'm like, okay, you know, you do your thing. Because
Yeah.
there's no need to put anyone on a pedestal anymore. And if it happens, some kind of reason, then I'm like, okay, right? It's like, what was that? Right? Um, Yet when I was also in Tiru, right, in India, I was, yeah, I did place some people on pedestals. It just doesn't serve. That one seems to know. That's the sense. Someone seems to know. But then we go back. Is there anything who really knows? Is there anyone who really knows? How can this be known? So what is it then that's there with the with those people, right? Did they speak about that did they did they really give you a sense that they knew beyond the label on it, but did they like speak as if they were speaking absolute truth without that humbleness?
Yeah, it
Just to
felt
give it words.
sorry.
Just to give it words.
Yeah, so it's almost as if like they they'd become so identified so that this is my own observation. I could be, as I say, like
Yeah.
completely wrong, but it's almost as if like it was a shadow where
Yeah, 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 yeah.
they
Yeah. Hmm.
they had become so identified with this the one that watches that their ego had created an identity out of it
Yeah.
and they'd kind of fallen into some sort of dogma and they had placed themselves on pedestals
Yeah.
and it just kind of felt like a shadow and I was like, oh, I need to be careful because I can feel myself going that way if I
Yeah.
fall too deeply
Yeah.
into this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I just kind of felt that maybe like to me, like I had to ask myself, like, what is humanity? Like what does it mean to be a human, you know? Um, and I just kind of felt like to be human is to live in the relative truth as well as the absolute truth. And I felt like some people had fallen into the extreme side of non-duality and they were only talking in absolutes and
Yeah.
only talking in absolutes.
Yeah.
It
And then
kind
it
of
becomes like we only can talk like this, right? We cannot talk about what to do in your job, right? Because it's not true. Next.
yeah. And it just kind of felt like it was like, okay, I need a hug.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And like I just
Detach
kind of
from
felt
that.
yeah, like if people are like, it's a sensation. Observe the
Mhm.
sensation. So I just feel like it can sometimes be almost as if like a dogma where we can
Mhm.
just fall so deeply into
Mhm.
it. And like and yeah, like again, it's just again it's all just things to be observed as you say, but
Yeah.
I just feel like it's important to like discuss this just because like it's a problem that I see within my own practice with this, and like I think that's the resistance that I have, you know? Because I'm worried that I'm gonna
Yeah,
fall
yeah, yeah,
into
yeah. In
absolute.
that, yeah, 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 yeah. There's a reason to hold on to that sense of I, because if you don't, what will I become? Like, will it become like that? I don't want that, right? Yet, what if it's just an assumption that they are beyond that,
It's my ego that
right?
sees their ego.
Could yeah, could be, could totally be. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And yeah, it's
And
just
that keeps on. It keeps this on going. Yet, I cannot imagine. I really from this, and also I don't know, right? Yet I cannot imagine tr- why would you treat anyone like that? And I don't know exactly, I don't know all the details, right? But yet, why would you treat someone inhuman? It seems that that only comes from ego. And then it's also not, oh, now we should have no ego, because that's like the other side, right? And yet
mm,
there is what is that's why I love these questions. What is in between ego and no ego?
it just shuts my mind off. This is great.
Yeah.
It's great. Between ego and no ego, and it just goes.
My dear, you can write it down, but you don't even have to because you have a recording. That's one way, and the other one is like, and the other one is you can watch this all back, and it can be helpful. In the beginning, with me, it helped to just dive into these questions, for me, and yet at any moment it can be like, "Pff," and that is already here. It's in the now. It will never be there in the future. That's the sense here. I don't even know if it can be in the future, but for me it went on and on and on, and I spoke to a lot of people, you know, seekers for 50 years, old chaps and gentlemen and ladies, and it can become very tiring and heavy and done with all the seeking. Like, it's sad. It feels sad. Yeah. Yeah. It's not needed. That whole road of seeking, and with gurus and masters, and seemingly them that go into, you know, and the abuse that can come with it and all that kind of stuff, that whole road, which can, it can also have beautiful things, but then a beautiful thing in awakening is like, oh, this is awesome, how can I have this back? And then it can feel like a curse.
That's what I've experienced a lot because I had this deepening and then I was like, I want
I
it
know, dear, and I had one and I thought I was there.
back.
I was there, right? There's the I.
Yeah. Oh, always chasing.
And chasing that again.
It's difficult, isn't it?
But what if this that you chase is already this?
Yeah.
What is in what is in between this and that?
The space. It's so nice.
Yeah. What is in between thoughts and no thoughts?
Yeah, just nothingness.
Between mind and no mind. between self and no self. You're already here. Not because I say it. Because this is just blah blah.
Yeah, yeah. It's all concepts and just like labels essentially that we use to try and make sense of the world.
Mm. Mhm. Yeah,
You just let it all go. That's so freeing and it's so beautiful. It really is.
yeah. I know we gotta use some kind of language, and it still feels quite. I just say it like even that I have to let it go, or letting go of this, it can become a new thing to do.
Mhm.
And there's nothing wrong with something you want to do, right? There's nothing wrong with. I love to do all kinds of stuff. Cuddle with my cat, for example.
No.
Yet, what if you? What if there's nothing to do for this, right? What if there are no beliefs to drop or me to drop, right? Because that could be become the next thing. It's just a thought. It's here, there. It's here. Yeah. And for me, it was lovely to dive into this, into these questions. And, but it was already there. But it was just at some moment that it just, and the sense is here that it's here with you. And I don't know, but it just seems to be that the mind is like, oh, but wait, but, and you can just see that and be like, whatever. But uh, I see you. And you don't even have to see it. It's like,
Mm, yeah. It's so nice to like sit in spaciousness and stillness with you. And I feel like I'm able to anchor it very deeply
mm,
when we're both, because whether time and space is illusion or whatever, I'm able to really just kind of sit here and just let it let something speak through the awareness, let these this kind of conversation just flow. Like I'm just asking questions that I just feel these questions have plagued me throughout my whole practice. Um,
mm,
and they're just kind of rising up, out of this awareness. But I feel like you've done something really magical, and you've been able to kind of anchor this in, like right from the beginning when you mentioned, when you brought me into that awareness. Right from the beginning, you were able to kind of like take me into that, and then you spread that throughout the whole thing, and then you constantly kept taking me back to it,
mm,
which is just so powerful. So yeah, thank you for that, because
mm,
it's almost as if like this phone call has been like a kind of representation of what it's like to navigate reality. We've we've been in awareness and then we've fallen into the thoughts, and then you've just led us back into that awareness, which is so beautiful, because I think that is the practice, it's yo-yoing, it's coming back to that. So yeah, thank you. It's so nice that you've been able to hold that spaciousness through, like, and kept kind of like reminding me about it throughout. So yeah, thank you for that.
Thank you too. And I'm not doing it. I cannot even spread this because I have no control or influence on it or whatever, right? I just there's just a pointing to it with some questions. That's it. And so I'm not the one who does it, right? I'm just asking questions.
It's what's moving through you that you have the humbleness.
Yeah, but it almost becomes like I am the what I am not. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just want to say that like indeed, um, in a kind of way, I'm not even choosing this. It seems like I'm kind of choosing it, but there's the flow goes to here. The flow goes to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how it goes. Um, and I don't own it. I cannot bring it to you. I cannot make you see anything or whatever, right? You could do the same. You could do the same as I do. You could ask the same questions, and it could be like poof. You could be poofing. There could be people poofing while you ask the questions. Anyone can do this.
I love the vocabulary that's been used today. Poofiness.
Poofing.
Sticky.
Yeah.
No, no, but what you're saying is so true, and the like, I really love to hear these teachings from someone that radiates the humility like that, because yeah, as I said, I like the shadow can sometimes be like falling into this messiah complex, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's the pure awareness, it's that deeper eye that moves through us, it's that kind of inherent unity, something that is totally incomprehensible, that is moving through us, rather than so taking claiming responsibility
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just the
The
ego's
one. Yeah. Yeah.
mm. But it's difficult to like, and I have to remind myself that, because I definitely fall like, people compliment me, I'll be like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It's like, let's just observe this, like,
And there's nothing wrong with that. You can enjoy that one. You can enjoy
yeah,
anything because
yeah.
that's just an idea that you could not because then I would be attached. Whatever the fuck.
Mm.
Whatever. Enjoy. Enjoy life again. I had so many ideas about what I could and what I whatever, right? And now all that is gone and I'm enjoying things that I haven't done in some things in 10 years. Like, wow.
Oh my
They're just
goodness.
ideas. They're just ideas of what you can and what you couldn't do. What you do in spirituality and what normal people do. The normal people, you see, that's spiritual ego. Like, and I was there. Like, oh no,
Yeah.
I don't do that stuff anymore, right? Like, no, only only vegan, only vegan. So, do you have some vegan stuff with you? Because I do only vegan, and there's nothing wrong with vegan. Like, I still love as less hurt as possible for
Mm.
animals, and I know that in general is better for my body. But to not eat it at all, is that good for the body? Not long ago, because all this concept fall away, I had a piece of meat from also wild animals, so they've had a very good life. Had a piece of meat, and I enjoyed it so deeply. And there's such a sense that the body was like yummy, and I was like yummy, and I was like, oh. And before it was like, no, I cannot do this. But all of that is just bullshit. It's just an idea. And now I just
Yeah.
follow what the body wants. What I
Yeah.
want, but it's not like coming from like I have to overconsume that or whatever. I'm just, just the flow. And sometimes it goes to that and sometimes to that, whatever.
Yeah, like a
Tending
moderation.
the body well. Um, yeah.
I had this recently
I,
too. I read a
oh
book called
dear.
Jed.
I'm very curious, but I gotta go in 3 minutes. So,
Oh
but
goodness, is it
just tell me.
already 8? Oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
oh, wow, 7 my time.
We've been enjoying time. At least I did. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'll just quickly tell you then. So I read a book called Jed McKenna, from the author is Jed McKenna, called Spirituality, the Darkness Thing. And I had like complete identity crisis with it. Like it totally just it crushed all of my belief systems. So just completely annihilated them. I just realized that all of it is just like every single piece of writing I've ever read about anything is like true, but not true. So it was very shocking and very, what is the word, jarring, but it's now freed me from so many belief systems. As I say, I've got a bottle of Baileys, and usually I'm vegan. Uh, and
Usually. Yeah,
I'm
same
not.
here.
I don't even identify as a vegan anymore. I just eat what I want to eat. But I can't eat meat just because my body does not like it. As you say,
Oh, yeah.
you show the
But that's
body
what the body
what the
says,
body
right?
says. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I went shooting. Like my dad does shoots. I went on one of those the other day, like as a bonding experience. But before I wouldn't have. So it's like letting go of the belief systems
Yeah.
is so freeing in and of itself. But then everything in moderation, because I'm like, okay, well, I can't go too over the top. Like it's like balance, and just intuition. So I like totally, yeah, that is so freeing. I completely understand what you mean with that. But yeah, I'm like, thank you so much for this experience. Like as I say, I've fired a lot of really like deep questions at you based on like what I just kind of feel like like this practice calls to be answered. But then sometimes there just is no answer, which is what I'm kind of figuring out. So
Hmm.
like I really appreciate yeah, like your wisdom, and yeah, thank you so much for showing people this, because I think that one of the biggest problems that we have is like people that are, well, the whole of humanity that's addicted to thinking, but also the fact that people have become so tangled up, like their sense of identity has become so tangled up in the
Yeah, yeah.
false self. So like I think what you're doing is literally the most important thing in the world, so thank you.
Mm.
And thanks for the session.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. It
And
was a
really love
pleasure.
some of these techniques. I'm gonna use them. I'll be looking back on the session and yeah, taking some notes. So thank you.
Hmm. Very welcome. And if you feel like it can be helpful to just book one, and there's still spots on that day I've seen in my agenda. Um, to book one like 2 days after, because it can just be helpful. And if you feel like it, if you feel like I would love that, um, and if not, also perfectly fine. If anytime you feel like okay, just let me know. Just send me a message if you feel like okay, whatever's going on, right? Whatever's going on, if you know when it's that time, even though the head might be like, no, maybe not send a message. You know when it's time. Just do it, and anyway, let me know like in some couple of days, like, how you doing? Like, yeah, let me know.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. And please get something to eat. I feel bad. I don't want you to go to the next session without eating. So
I chose this.
Hmm.
or it's just happening, whatever.